I know a thing or two when it comes to training those glutes because I took my butt from absolutely flat as a pancake to winning women's overall physique and winning women's overall figure. So when I say I feel like I've tried every home gym glute machine, I have. Maybe you're just starting to build out your home gym and you are looking for the perfect glute machine to be the right amount of pain in the butt. My goal today is to break down the GMWD standing hip abduction machine to see where it excels, where it falls short, and see if it's worth the space in your home gym, and also see if it's worth the money. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of this video, I want to let you guys know that GMWD did send this out to me for free for review, so thanks to them. They're awesome to work with because they generally let us reviewers be brutally honest. So the video will be nothing short of that, and I'll let you guys know who this machine is great for and who should skip on buying it altogether. All right, we're going to start off with some of the things that this machine does amazingly well. The first thing that I love about this machine is that it has a long lever arm with a cam on it, which makes the resistance curve feel awesome. And if you want to make it feel even better, it has these perfectly placed band pegs. Something I don't like about home gym machines is generally they're kind of plate eaters. So meaning you have to load up a ton of plates to get the right amount of weight for your workout. So with those bands placed on the machine, it just feels awesome because generally when you get to this spot right here, the weight does kind of let off because that lever arm is trying to go down. So with those bands, it really does smooth out the resistance curve of this machine and just feels smooth and awesome. GMWD is starting to make beefier machines than they have in the past, and this thing is nothing short of beefy. This thing features 11 gauge steel, so it feels very stable, and it also has those aluminum pulleys that we all love, which makes this really, really smooth. I was able to visit my commercial style gym, my local gym, and they have a standing hip abductor as well, and this thing actually felt smoother than that one. Let's go over some of the nitpicks and negatives I have about this machine. It feels like more and more budget home gym companies are slapping aluminum pulleys on things and then calling it more commercial grade and heavy duty. If that's the case, give us something better than plastic weight horns. It's confusing when you have a nice beefy frame, aluminum pulleys, and you finish the machine off with plastic weight horns. The machine does function very well and it feels good, so that is definitely more of a nitpick, but it's just something I've been noticing. At this point in the video, you've heard me say that this machine functions properly and as it should. That is true, but there is one small flaw. My cable feels like it needs to be a little bit shorter. I have it tightened all the way down. Over time, cables stretch with some use. That is true for anything that's cable driven. And so there is quite a bit of slack in the beginning of the movement. How I fix this with this machine is I just go ahead and add these pads right here between the pads and my leg, and that way I get resistance early on in the movement. I've had to do this with almost every single hip abduction machine, whether it's commercial or whether it's budget, so it really doesn't bother me. It's not uncomfortable, but it's just something to know. One last negative that is totally a nitpick because I generally don't complain about vinyl on certain budget equipment, but I feel like where your knees make contact with this vinyl, it's kind of slippery. So I would like to see maybe some upgraded vinyl on this machine because I think with the small amount of vinyl that is there, it wouldn't cost them much more and it would be a lot better of an experience because it is a little bit slippery. Now that we got the negatives out of the way, let's talk about some need to know information if you're looking to purchase this machine. When this machine comes, it already is like 70% assembled. It's a pretty easy assembly, which is good because this thing weighs 173 pounds. So when I told you guys that it's beefy, I'm serious. It's real beefy. All of this platform is already built, so you just have to put these leg pads on and your lever arm. Super simple. Took me about maybe 45 minutes to assemble it and run the cables through. The threading of the cables is also super simple. It's literally just one line straight to the back, so you shouldn't have any trouble having to assemble it. This machine can take up to 400 pounds, so if you're a beefcake and you're actually hip abducting 400 pounds, don't worry, there's band pegs so you can add a little bit more tension. Now, I will admit that this machine does take up quite a bit of space for only being able to do one function. It only does abduction, it doesn't do adduction. So you're going to be working your outer glutes with this machine, not your inner thigh. That being said, it does it very, very well. I do like this machine. I do like the way it feels, and I'm definitely experiencing some glute gains from it. So when you have a machine that does one thing well, sometimes it's worth it to take up the space. It's going to take up 63 inches in length and 27 inches in width. So it is kind of a longer machine. If you have a skinny space to put in your home gym, then this might just work for you. If you're unsure whether a seated or standing hip abduction machine would be better for you, let's go over the differences so you can decide which one would be better for your goals. Standing and seated hip abductions both target the same muscles, but they shine in very different ways. Standing variations are more for functional, they typically fire up the glutes more and challenge your balance and core and carry over better to real life movements like walking, stairs, and squats. Seated abductions is more about isolation and control. Your pelvis is supported so you can really feel the outer hip muscles working, and it's easier to load heavier with a clear strength progression. That makes the seated machine especially friendly for beginners, people with balance issues, or anyone coming back from an injury. So based on that information, you guys can decide which better suits you and your needs. I think you guys can tell from the video that I've enjoyed training with this machine and I love having it in the home gym, but the question is, would I spend my hard-earned money on it? And the answer is yes, I would. I would be a little disappointed with how much space it takes up for only doing one movement, but where my main goal is to grow my glutes and how well this machine performs, I would get over the space that it takes up. I don't think GMWD could have done any better on the design. The longer lever arm makes it so it's a 1-to-1 ratio all the way through the movement. If you have a short lever arm, you're really going to have to load on lots of plates, and you don't want to do that because it gets really annoying really fast. So just to show you guys, this is my luggage scale, and right at the start, it's going to give 55 pounds, and then at the top here, we're at 52. So you can see that's not a very big range. So that's good. You're getting the same amount of weight when you start and then when you finish. That is my overview of GMWD's standing hip abduction. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Leave them down in the comments below. If you guys are interested in purchasing this machine, I do have a link in the description. Thank you guys for watching, and let me know if you're team standing hip abduction or seated abduction.